Hey, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and I'm joined by Squeaks.
Okay.
I think your mic even cut out because it was like, no, it's beyond our control at this point. All right, today we have a lot to discuss. We're going to be going over Paramount's massive week after their merger with Skydance. We're going to be looking at some casting news from Rambo, of all things, Narnia, and we're going to be going over some parental safety stuff you need to know about Roblox. And then we have an interview with the wonderful Alex Austin, the creator of the Bitcade app, who is expanding into the social media game, which is very interesting. How do you start a social media app? And nowadays we're going to hear all about it. But first, I want to make a quick announcement. We have two conventions coming up that we're going to be both at. Squeaks is going to be joining me at the LA Comic Con, and that is going to be on September. I just had it up, dang it, September 26th, 28th. We're going to be there. We have a lot of cool guests. Is there any particular guests you're most excited to meet, Squeaks?
Yeah, I think if I have the opportunity, definitely Matthew Lillard from the original Scream movie, and of course Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. That would be like my, I wouldn't know what to say moment.
Yeah.
If I saw him, I'm going to be talking to you, talking a big game.
Right.
I'm like, I'm going to ask him things, and then when I get to him face to face, I'm like, please sign this. And then just walk away.
I know. So for me, obviously Elizabeth Olsen, like that's huge to be able to, and then Paul Bettany. I'm going to be probably the only person who's walking up to Paul Bettany like, I love you at Knight's Tale. It's like, oh yeah, you're also Vision. But that would be incredible. We have, we have so many really good actors there. And then I was saying, like, comic book wise, Tom King. Oh man, I am all about Tom King lately, so I can't wait to talk to him as well. So we'll be there from the 26th to the 28th at LA Comic Con. And then the week before that, I'll be at Crocker Con with the friends from Distance Nerding. With James, we're going to be doing some panels over there, talking to some local creators and comic book artists. Not local, they're bringing them in. But this is for the Crocker Museum of Sacramento. They're doing their own convention. They've been doing it for the last few years. Should be very fun. I'm excited to do that one. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the news. So, Paramount merged with Skydance. What are your thoughts? Like, what's your perception of Paramount in the last 10 years? What have you been thinking about that company?
I feel like it's a sleeper. There's a lot of shows that I find myself going to on Paramount, but I don't really give it the recognition that it's really needed or it deserves. So they're not messing around right now. With these notes that we're about to talk to here shortly, they're trying to be top dog right now. And I see with some of these moves, I'm blown away with, and I won't say it because we're going to get to it, but I'm shocked. But what about you? Do you find yourself going to the Paramount very often, or what is it? What's it like?
I mean, at this point, right? It's like Survivor and Star Trek for me. There's not, and then even on the movie front, you're like, okay, they came out with Maverick. Top Gun Maverick was a biggie, but there hasn't been a lot that I can think movie wise. It's been stellar for them. They've been kind of quiet lately. So with the Skydance merger, I personally was afraid. I'm like, are you guys going to mess up Survivor, or Star Trek? Are you guys going to get rid of these shows? And instead, what it looks like is they're doubling down and really investing big on what they do on. So let's go through this list and we'll react to each things that we got from this week. First off, they just signed a 7-year deal with the UFC. So they're going to be bringing that in 2026. The shows are going to be airing on Paramount Plus and select bouts will be on CBS. How big are you on UFC fights? And this is also with TKO, which means some wrestling too.
No, that is wild to me. That is the biggest move that I've seen on these notes, because right now, which is interesting, that WWE just made a deal with ESPN to, I think, 2026 as well, to have some of their main events now on ESPN, which hopefully is not this whole, like, I don't know, I'm a little nervous about the if there's additional charges and whatnot.
Right, Disney
from what they were
Plus
on
or some nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you just had a Peacock subscription, you can watch these events. So I'm hoping that with it being on ESPN, that it's not going to become a like UFC fights currently right now with ESPN, where you have to buy the ESPN subscription, but you also have to pay for like another $80 for the event, which is wild. Okay. So I'm hoping we don't go back to that, like old school WWE pay-per-view events.
Yeah.
But with so that shook me when I found out that UFC was moving to Paramount. So I'm like, what's the deal there? I mean, is it just money? Because like what you said, it's a TKO, right? So that's part of wrestling as well. So it's interesting to have these events that are under the one umbrella on two different streaming services. I don't know the tactic for that.
Well, it reminds me back in the old days, and now you're gonna know more than me. But like SmackDown and Raw were on 2 different stations, right? At one point.
Yes, yeah.
So maybe they could do something similar with that.
Yeah. What's? I mean, I might be putting this question and you on the spot for this question, but what do you think the tactic is for that?
I just think that I think what's going on, what we're hearing from Paramount as a whole, is they're trying to reach Middle America, and I think maybe the coasts don't care so much about UFC, but that's a good way to reach Middle America. You know, people in, I don't know, Nebraska or Kentucky are more likely to watch UFC than Star Trek, I think. So that's why they're trying to broaden their reach a little bit with that.
Yeah, that's interesting for sure.
Yeah. And I think it's a good sports deal too. All around 7-year contract. You could really get some planning in for that. I think it's just a smart move, frankly. Yep. I used to watch UFC back in the day, like Mike Lindell. Is that a name? Yeah, I think
Chuck
that was
Liddell.
Chuck Liddell. Ah, so close, guys. I got the Liddell part down. That's how long ago it's been. UFC 1. Okay. Next up, they're going to be changing their theatrical strategy. I was so happy with this. In a day when we're worried about theaters closing down, they're going to be increasing the output for movies. So currently, this year, they only have 8 titles coming out to theaters, which is insane to me because you're really banking on 8 movies making your nut. And now they're going to be moving to 15 a year and then aiming for 20 movies a year for Paramount. Now, why this is important is because not only will you be coming out with the big ass titles, I mean, we're talking, your next Top Guns, your next Star Treks, but they're going to be doing more mid-range movies, which I think deserve their day in the sun. Like, good mid-range movies that we love. Superbad. I mean, like, that movie was so good. Step Brothers. Those are all mid-budget movies. They don't cost a lot of money to make, but you go to theaters, they become viral, and they keep the doors open on the theaters. I think this is just a slam dunk move, and I'm happy they're doing this.
Yeah. And even at that point, if you're putting so many movies out, and we talk about, universes being saturated or whatnot, it might be a good idea to always see that Paramount logo before of a movie, and it's so, like, ingrained in your brain. You've seen it so many times throughout the year. So bad, good, okay. Different genres for sure. I would love to see Paramount come back and, like, do, like, really good quality family shows or movies. I mean, it doesn't matter as long as it's kind of in your face, and that's pretty sweet to see, like, a big push like this.
Well, that's one of the notes coming up here in a sec. Let's do that right now. They said that they're going to be pushing for family adventure movies. That's a priority for them. Specifically, they called out Goonies. And they said that in a world with superhero movies, that's an area that's missing out. It's just like family fun flicks to watch. Again, reaching for a middle America where superhero movies, I think, is pretty general for everybody in the country. But if you were to do like those not hard hitting thinking pieces, not to sound, now that sounds mean.
No.
But like, I'm thinking of like The Post or whatever, like middle America, just like good old Goonies type of movies, then that's what you want to do. You put these out, they don't cost a lot of money again, and everybody can get on board and watching it. And you can take the kids to the movies, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to necessarily always be a Marvel or DC thing.
Yeah.
It's just a smart move.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical when we talked about the family stuff with Paramount because they just also released or got rid of Blue's Clues and the Rugrats reboot. So it had me iffy because my girls actually watched Blue's Clues and used quite often. Yeah. So that was a big, push for always clicking that Paramount subscription or service. So I was a little skeptical on what they were talking about, like family, when you're already getting rid of some other family media. Now, I'm going to just bring up, because you brought up like the Goonies and stuff, I'm going to just go to your next note, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course.
Of the massive thing, the Duffer? Oh my God, I always say it wrong. Duffer Brothers are coming to Paramount. And obviously they're the big, jaw-dropping series, the most amazing thing that we know, Stranger Things, right? And that's exactly what you're talking about if you wanted this Goonies feel. Now, what do you think, like, pulled the Duffer Brothers into being Paramount exclusive, money-wise, probably? I don't know. Maybe, like, money for their shows or whatnot? Maybe creative, like,
so
whatever
not
you
only
want,
shows, but they promised the movies as well. So the Duffers are going to be working on movies as well. They're leaving Netflix because Stranger Things is done, and they're not going to make a next Stranger Things spinoff or anything like that. They're just leaving them. And so this deal is overarching. It's going to be for movies and TV shows. They probably, if I were the Duffer Brothers, if I were Paramount, frankly, I'd be like, what is the next franchise you guys been cooking? You got success with this one. What's the next big one? Sure. And then, like, say it's Stranger Things, just for the word. It won't be Stranger Things. But then it's like, okay, you're going to make a TV show for Stranger Things. You're going to make spinoff movies from it. You're going to start building a Star Wars for us. Yeah. I think that's what you're going to use something like the Duffer Brothers for. Because very few creators out there have such a clear vision as these guys. Production was slow as hell for Stranger Things, and that's a problem. But I would say that episode 1 of Stranger Things still fits well with where we are now with Stranger Things because they've had this clear vision the entire time. The kids get older quick, but the story has been pretty consistent, and it hasn't felt like they've veered off of any normal plans. I think that's what you're gonna use those Duffer Brothers for.
Yeah. I'm curious if they'll use the same formula of like the Goonies feel, because I was thinking like, okay, if I had to make up my own like little Goonies like Stranger Things movie or show, what would it be? And I was thinking like, okay, maybe we can involve space, right? Maybe like space and like Skeleton a group of kids, kind of like it not so much in space, but so much of like, oh, we got a signal on our radio. And then like NASA's maybe like involved with it, something like maybe like ET vibes, but with a group of children. And then maybe it would be really cool if like somehow they pitch something where the aliens are telling them like crimes or disasters or something beforehand. So these little kids are investigating. So I kind of see that, which I mean, it's almost like the whole skeleton crew, like the kids just taking initiatives and doing things themselves. That'd be really neat. Maybe that's just a formula that they were best in, and maybe it's they stick with it. And you're saying exactly yourself, like Goonies vibes in middle of America. So
and it reminds me of like what are the movies that stuck with us so much as kids? It's like Hook. It's those kind of movies, right? That really have these endearing, long lasting legacies. And what's going to be enduring for your kids right now? I can only think personally of like Marvel movies that have that longevity, that have that sticking power, but something like this, just a fun adventure where they could start imagining themselves on adventures. That makes sense to me. And I don't think I don't think the budget or the focus is there right now in Hollywood. And so if you were to stop and take time to make those, you could make that focus there. It just takes time to do it,
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I don't want to try to put questions to you on the spot, but are we seeing a 2026 like ordeal of them being officially signed with Paramount? Wait until everything for Stranger Things is released, or what do we know?
You'll note that in the notes, it's talking about them possibly signing on to them. That actually just advanced talks. That actually just got secured last night. So that is they are 100% in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're there, man. They're going to be making something for them, and that's just one aspect. There are other creators are bringing in to start making more adventure type movies.
Yeah,
those mid-budget movies for Paramount. 20 movies a year is a huge step up that we haven't seen since like 2010. So it's a very big upgrade in theater production.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, the priorities, because they also want to make sure to lean on those franchises, is the Top Guns and Star Treks. They're going to make 2 new Star Trek movies. This is Skydance saying this is happening. So we have J.J. Abrams' movie coming out, which will be with Kirk, and we know that crew already. And then they brought in director Toby Haynes from Andor to make an entirely new Star Trek project. So we have 2 different Star Trek movies going forward. Now, I want to put this out there. They said that they're going to be pulling away from making too many original stories for Paramount Plus and let that be a place where their BET, MTV, and Nickelodeon and stuff like that, like their cable networks can bring their things forward. So Blue's Clues left now, but with the Skydance merger, it's likely coming back essentially.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that J.J. Abrams with the Star Trek is amazing for me. Again, I tell you plenty of times that's what got me into Star Trek more than anything. And man, I mean, I really wish he was directing it, but if his name is still on it and he's a big part of it,
he's probably directing it.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah, because I was seeing something about the screenplay is being written by Steve Yoki. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, Steve Yoki. Yeah, but that's the screenplay. That's not directing. The vision, like the director's the one that's kind of telling him this is what we want out of the screenplay.
Okay.
When you're the screenplay writer, it's a little different than like if you're creating it. And so I think he's doing the dialogue essentially.
Because that worried me a little bit because this Steve guy, I mean, I'm not knocking on anything, but I mean, we've only seen him with like Supernatural is this big one. The Scream TV series didn't really, I felt like go anywhere, me personally.
Right.
So that kind of had me worrisome. I was like, okay, well, as long as JJ's on it, I mean, there's no.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be J.J. Abrams' movie. It'll definitely be his. That's like, like Toby Haynes, he was with Andor, but he was a director of some of the episodes, not Andor as a whole. So he's not necessarily like the vision of Andor, but still the fact that he worked on such a high class project will help with, what we could see from Star Trek. I think it's a good sign. We actually just did a whole episode on Challenge Accepted about Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And you were a point of conversation saying that like everybody who says that J.J. Abrams' Star Trek's not real Star Trek needs to get the hell over themselves. And I use you as an example, like Squeaks has watched Next Generation because of J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
So it's the gateway, guys. You have to embrace that gateway. And I love those movies, man. They are
I do too.
Good popcorn movies to watch. But yeah, this looks hopeful for Paramount. I was worried when that Skydance merged with them, thinking that we were going to lose something. But it sounds like we might be gaining. I think we are going to lose some of those Paramount Star Trek, those Paramount Plus ones. But let them ride out their contracts and stuff like that, and maybe we'll get something more deserving of us. I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have a fresh new look at Greta Gerwig's Narnia. They're making this for Netflix. Have you had a chance to look at these images coming out of there? They're making an entire 1950s set, which I thought Squeaks' jam.
I think it's pretty sweet. I think it just looks like something like literally like a movie out of that time period, like made in that time period. It looks phenomenal. Definitely love just that one still of the children just wearing their outfits. It's like, oh my gosh, this is Narnia, and it's like definitely taking me back.
We even have like the old bus. If you go through, you can, like, we put the whole entire slideshow on our website, guys, by the way. And you can see like they have an old bus from the 50s. It's there. They have an entire, like, all the extras are dressed in 50s. It definitely tells you it's London. Yeah.
I got my Kid Enough shirt on for Greta right now. Because fucking just nailed that Barbie movie. But I'm excited for this one for the fact that I realized not so much originally. I just heard Narnia and was like, oh my gosh, I don't really want to reboot. But that this is going to be one that we have not seen yet with the Magician's Nephew. So I'm really excited that it's like you're bringing a new story and you're not trying to overwrite a franchise, kind of like what Harry Potter is doing currently right now. Which I'm not saying anything bad about. It could be great. But I love like the more of it, like an expansion of something that wasn't shown.
Yeah, and The Magician's Nephew is actually the first book in the not the trilogy, even the series of books, and it's the prequel to Narnia. So the idea is that these kids, they end up going to this pocket universe, and they end up accidentally like unleashing this magician or sorceress, and which clearly becomes the witch later on in Narnia, and they're having to worry. She ends up getting into London, causing chaos here in London, and Aslan steps in. And he sings the existence of Narnia in, like, because obviously this is all an allegory for God. And so, like, he creates the world, Aslan's God. And he even tells them, like, there's this horse that was, like, part of a cabbie, and he ends up making it into a Pegasus. And he's like, fly this over to this special garden and find this one apple. They go there, they get this apple, and the witch is trying to tempt them. Clearly, Eden, and they bring it back. And so, it's this whole thing. So what's nice is this is a completely fresh story. It doesn't even have the original kids from Narnia because this is a prequel to that. So it will feel new, but a very magical world. And the original story takes place in the late 1800s, but she moved it up to the 50s. And I think that was a good move because I think the 50s aesthetic is so cool.
I think it kind of really tailors to what we've already seen with the other Narnia. So it's kind of like, I guess, relatable, you can say. I've only read I've read Lion Witch and the Wardrobe, and I read The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. So I might have to put down my current book, which I'm reading a Red Sonja book, novel, on top of reading comics of her as well. I might have to put this down to try to like read this Magician's Nephew before it releases.
As you know, they're very short books. This one was really but this one I would say is the most high fantasy, like really high concept stuff, because it's like, again, creation, Aslan bringing in and like multiple dimensions and stuff like that. Like, so it is very, and like there's it's been a long time since I've read this, but like the light post that you see in Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is from the attack on London. Like it's actually like from London. Wow. So there's like little hints like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's very good book. They're all very good books. C.S. Lewis nailed it, but this one is like definitely the most like, oh boy, you have to like kind of zoom out a little bit on this. It's not as easy as Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe for sure. So, all right, we have Noah Centineo is going to be playing young John Rambo. Man, the 80s, they love to reboot stuff. They love to bring it back. This is going to be a prequel to the Rambo series when he's in the Vietnam War, and he's going to be a Green Beret leading his first troops into the Vietnam War. Do you remember watching Rambo when you were a kid, or are you a little bit too old?
Yeah, I actually still have I have the Blu-ray version of that.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I don't know.
Is it needed?
Exactly. Like I really just like the originals, and it's just a good action movie. I mean, I appreciate that they're again expanding universes that we're not recreating, so a prequel is nice. Noah has been in like action kind of scene movies before, so he has somewhat of experience with like Warfare, Black Adam, and I believe he's casted for the new Street Fighter. So I mean, we'll see. That I feel like that's big shoes to fill. You know,
Sly Stallone. He's not that gritty though. That's the thing. Like Sly to me is like, well, that did the manly man, you know, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, Noah, you're too Gen Z, bro.
I don't know, you know? Exactly. He's so like Sylvester Stallone is so 80s like man, right? Like just fucking beef and protein shakes and whatever.
Eat Noah for breakfast.
Exactly.
And then you got Noah, and he was gonna be playing not only in Rambo, but during Vietnam War when he was like extra badass.
So I think it'd be interesting. I don't know what would be the reason of like wanting to bring Rambo back is besides just making an action movie, but hey, we need to gain some traction. Why not we slap an old name to it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you wish that they would just make an original movie? Just like, hey, this has nothing to do with Rambo, but it's just a story of a guy like Rambo. I think that would be a lot better.
Yeah, because I get the name slapping, but I would also appreciate maybe like if it was like Rambo's colleagues, so like a one-off movie that maybe was in the Vietnam War with him. Yeah. And maybe you kind of get that whole. I would love to see like the CGI look of like Star Wars has been doing with the general from the Empire. Right? I forgot which one of that was. That's really good, but just kind of like real quick scenes or whatever. But you're following this partner, and maybe he doesn't make it out of that one, but it still would have been really neat to just have a one-off, but a little expansion. That's how I see it. Yeah, because you still I get the name now. Gosh, I really don't remember now.
Yeah, my brain is. It's too damn early. To me, I think we might be pulling a little bit too much. We were talking about Highlander last week, and it's kind of just do original stories. I get that if you just have the name Rambo, people are going to go watch this. Like, this is definitely something like our parents would go watch just because it's a Rambo thing. But he is not Rambo by no means. So you need to bring in his generation. And I don't know if they're going to come out for a movie like this. I don't think they have any attachment to Rambo at all.
It's such a shame because of the original movies. Like, it's almost like the 80s were just risk taking on anything. They slapped an idea and they just went for it. And I mean, come on, we got RoboCop, you know, ET stuff, like just random things. But, you know, sticking with the action stuff, you know, Die Hard, stuff like that, whatever. They just went for it. And no matter how far out there it wasn't. So it's kind of a shame that are we just not able to, if it's a generational thing, maybe they're just like different generations are not willing to see something that's so outlandish, like maybe like a RoboCop or something,
or take chances. I think so. Actually, this kind of leans back on what we were talking about with Paramount, right? The idea that you're going to bring 20 movies instead of 8 movies to the theaters every year. That's when you could, because we talk about the successes in the 80s, but there were many, many, many more that were flops. And you could definitely see them in the archives, and I watched a lot of them. You know, I'm a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, and so you see some bad movies. But that was the deal. It's like they tried it, and if it was a success, then it got a sequel. And Rambo was a success. RoboCop was a damn good success. Terminator, and so you know, so I think that's what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is with companies taking chances like Paramount's about to do, we'll get those mid-range movies, and maybe we'll get something like a new Rambo, but. I think right now what Hollywood's doing is that they're like, well, this has some name recognition. Like they're doing a Space Invaders movie now too. And I'm like, what's the story of Space Invaders? The entire plot is in the title. And so they make a Space Invaders movie just so they could use the name of Space Invaders. And I'm like, who are you appealing to? People that played Space Invaders when they were kids? Because those people are damn near dead now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like even us, it's old for us. Like our parents played Space Invaders, not necessarily us. You know, make a Mario Kart movie.
Maybe because if we grew up going to the movies very often, and that's just how, like, I don't know, the times were for us. Do you think that maybe it's because we have to have these names for these movies that we're bringing back the same generation? I mean, they're technically not pulling. It almost feels like they don't want to pull like something that like newer audiences. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? I don't know.
I think if you're gonna take a chance, you do it on streaming first. I think that's where it's like, no matter what, we at least have the content that'll stick around. We have a few weeks to let it really build up an audience. I just think that it's too risky to release in theaters right now. People are not going to theaters. So we have to really reinvent what theaters do. We talked about it this last week, how like now they have recliners and Starbucks and stuff like that in some of these, in everybody's theaters except for yours. And so
yeah, oh, that's nice. You get a coffee. What?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So hopefully they kind of bring this back and maybe they find a way to revitalize, because I think it's a nice little event going to the theaters. I enjoy it, but for a lot of people, which drives me bananas, everybody's talking about how good Superman is, right? And I love Superman. It was so good. The thing people are using screen grabs with the, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this, but Cinema City, which is one of the big bootleggers out there, all over the screens. And I'm like, you fucking cowards. You shady bitches. Stop sharing bootleg screen grabs of Superman and go to the theaters if you want more of these movies. It drives me freaking nuts. And that just might be the older person in me saying that. But I think a lot of this younger generation, they absolutely have no problem just bootlegging something. And I'm like, a movie like Superman or Fantastic Four or like, say, Jurassic Park or something like that, they are meant to be seen on big screens. You go watch them there and then you rewatch them at home. And so it just, and then when you complain that we don't have more movies coming out or something like that, well, shit, if you're going to be sharing bootleg watermarks, then that's your fault. Yeah. It's just scandalous, you know? No shame. That's a shame.
Without, I want to kind of bring up something that you just mentioned without getting into the whole scandals and stuff like that, whatever. Yeah. Do you think, so you're thinking movie theaters need to do something different to enhance an experience? I mean, because that'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't know
to see what they would do.
I think, you know, reducing the amount of seats in the theater was a smart move. They've really made them more of a luxurious outgoing. I think the XT vibrating seats is a good move too. Like we have those at the Oak Grove Theater. And for certain movies like F1, everybody's saying like if you're gonna watch F1, try to watch it with the vibrating seats. It's even better.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And another big thing is I think it's called 4X. I don't have one of those, but Natomas apparently has one.
Oh yeah.
The screens go on the sides too. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't seen it like in person, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. That would be really cool to watch like a Top Gun on or something like that, where you can see like the planes whizzing by on this side. And I know the Guardians of the Galaxy was filmed with the intention of playing on those screens. So there are things like that. There's just good moves. A little bit more investment from the theater side, and then you want to see it because it's only going to be uniquely seen that way in that theater.
Yeah. Okay.
Hopefully that happens. Hopefully it works out. I know it's going to be interesting times, and I don't know, Rambo. We'll see how it goes. Okay, this is something I thought was really important. Are your girls gamers yet?
No. They like to watch me play, but no.
Okay, that you're on the right path at least. We gotta get through playing World of Warcraft and farming like materials for you for World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
If you could trick them that herbalism's a fun game, then All right, so there's been some concern starting this week. It's been going on for a while, but it's been really ramping up this week with Roblox and child safety. So Louisiana just put out a lawsuit against Roblox over what they're alleging is that they're misleading families and saying that they have all these safety rules in place, but too many things get through the cracks, and Roblox is not doing enough to crack down on adults engaging with kids and doing some really nasty stuff. One of the things I'll just throw out there, so YouTuber Schlep, who has been helping catch these creeps, one of the things he said that's going on is like they'll do this bathroom simulator where adults and kids pee together. Like that's where we're at. It's really weird. And so Roblox says that they have this zero tolerance policy. They use AI and different like self-checking tools to monitor this and break it down, but it's clearly getting through. And so I'm going to go back to this YouTuber Schlep, who's been setting up sting operations on, that's like his like streaming thing is that he does this. And he's actually gotten 6 predators arrested from doing this. And the police have praised this YouTuber Schlep, and other YouTubers are doing it as well. But Roblox just banned him, saying that vigilantes are too risky. And it's like, well, then you guys do it. You know, it's crazy that this is a problem. So as an adult that's hearing about this stuff, what are some of the tools that you would put in place to help make sure your kids are not in it? Because this is just Roblox, but there's also like Minecraft, you can interact with kids. Fortnite famously. What would you do as a parent to kind of help curtail this?
Yeah, and being like very well versed in video games anyway, I feel like they would be allowed to play if there was like a Minecraft, for example, since you just brought up like single servers, right? Unless I know like, hey, I'll pay for your server and maybe this one friend can play with you or 2 friends, whatever. But I have to be like the approval for it, right? So it's really just knowing what the games offer that can be a different experience than what it can fully offer, right? So don't be joining like random servers or whatever like that. I make those approvals, right? But the banning of the YouTuber is interesting because it does kind of slap at Roblox a little bit, because it feels like if you're not doing enough, other people have to do it. So what are you going to do if you're going to ban these? But I also get like maybe there's putting someone in danger type legal issue that they're concerned about. But I will say though, I'll might bleep it out, but I'll fucking kill someone if they're gonna like talk to my children, right? Like that. So like screw these guys, so like bleep that or whatever. No mercy really when it comes to these adults trying to talk to children to do these whole like bathroom simulators, whatever. So I'm not very well versed in Roblox, don't care to ever be well versed in Roblox. But are there like, I wonder if there's like private servers that maybe they can do as well.
See, the thing with that is you are more versed in gaming than most parents. So they give them the iPad and they said, you know, hey, don't bug me for a little bit. I don't blame parents because sometimes you need a little bit of a break, as you definitely know. And it doesn't take nothing to just download the Roblox app or Fortnite app or even Minecraft has their app. And they could then start getting online without any attention from the parents. Is there single servers? I don't know on Roblox specifically. I would assume that there can be. But you would have to be a parent that knows enough about the gaming world to set that up. Yeah. And there's a lot of parents that simply don't. And so they think their kids are just watching YouTube. That's another thing too. Marco comes over, he's watching YouTube, and it's the what's the damn show? Was it the dogs that are rescuers?
Paw Patrol?
Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
He's watching Paw Patrol, but this is not Paw Patrol. They think it is. What it is it's AI generated Paw Patrol videos, and it's like dogs are pregnant and some dogs die. It's insane story. I'm like, there's no way you would be okay with your kid watching the story, but you don't know they're watching it. You just see them watching Paw Patrol. And it's like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we definitely stopped doing the whole YouTube thing for that reason. I think there was a click of like Elsa being pregnant, but they just see Elsa right at first and being pregnant. So we definitely put a stop on that. My thing is like, okay, so this might get me, I don't know, if like the people that are making those videos are just idiots to me, to be honest. It's like do something real, with yourself.
Yeah. Well, and they're all AI generated, so it's so minimal work on their end.
Exactly.
They don't got stuff.
Yeah. And the other thing is like and then this is whatever heat too, is if you're adults and you're dressing up like whatever, to just make these like stupid kid videos, whatever for YouTube, I mean, get real too at the same time. So I kind of stopped doing that as well. I just couldn't handle it just for my sanity. So we're done with like the YouTube, but that's what the parents have to, I mean, honestly, the parents are concerned about that. Sorry, you have to step up and realize what can you do to make Roblox safer if your kid loves Roblox. I'm not saying to like fully take it away, because obviously I don't want to take away something that like my children really enjoy. But if they're not doing it, Roblox is not doing anything to protect like their individuals. So this is every game too, right? I mean, harmful speaking on Marvel Rivals, right? I mean, you're probably going to get banned soon because you're talking so much shit to other players. But,
hey, if I'm wrong, then ban me. I ain't getting banned. Some of y'all need to uninstall that game, get out of my games.
But that's a lot of games are doing it. But yeah, if you got to that point, like even like keywords, if they're actually really using AI, then it's a boot, whatever. That's how I feel. What do you feel
showed like an image of like the reporting tool where you like fill out a document basically, and I'm like, there ain't no 7-year-old who's like gonna fill that out. They're gonna they're not gonna even know to be manipulated by adults. That's the whole point.
Exactly.
And so it's just frustrating. And you're right, parents do need to step up. I just think that we're in a world now where the kids might know more than the parents, and so they might not know how to prevent this stuff.
Yeah.
So Roblox has to take it on their front. And then the idea of banning YouTubers that are creating stings, work with the damn YouTubers. Why are you banning them? This schlep is doing good. 6 people are sitting in jail right now who were talking to kids. Good job, schlep, not ban schlep. Why is that a thing? It just blows my mind.
I'm really curious of like what the logic was behind that. If
their
it's
whole
maybe
thing
like
is like if they don't,
for it.
what the reason Roblox's idea is that it's too risky, as in you are setting up other people to create these sting operations if you let schlep be successful. to create these sting operations, and then eventually one of them could get hurt because then they could get DDoSed, or I'm not sure Schlepp's age, but watching his videos, he seems like he is probably underage as well. So he's using himself as bait to like get these guys in trouble. That's dangerous. I could see that for sure. But then it's like, you know, there has to be something where it's like, instead of simply banning somebody being successful, figure out why they're successful and then try to use that, and not necessarily, you know, Chris Henson, this is the next bit of this. Chris Henson, known for a Catch a Predator show, is making a documentary about this. I think in the notes I said, reportedly, he actually came out last couple of days and say, no, this is happening actually. I am making a doc. If you have Chris Henson on the case, you are in trouble.
I really want to see that, like him popping up around the corner with one of these Roblox like adults. I don't know. It's almost like, do you work with a police force? But then at the same time, does it feel like you're so say if I would create a Roblox, right? Man, it really just feels, what can I do to ensure that Roblox is not just some like a predator type video game, you know, like that's not what it was supposed to be for. So it's kind of, where do you go with that? Do you go with like the more scale? Do you let police maybe like have access to certain things that just like read?
I think you have to let but the police might not necessarily have that set up now, but there can be something that is eventually set up. The key with Roblox, for those who are unfamiliar with the game, and Fortnite has a very big part. Actually, I would probably say one of the most played aspects of Fortnite is this way, and then Minecraft, of course, is it's user created content. So it's not like people are playing a Roblox game. They're playing something that somebody built within Roblox, a world. That's like that peeing simulator that Schleps talks about. But also I've seen people like build little towns that people just like live in the town, but it's ran on Roblox. And so Roblox monitoring that means that they have to essentially monitor games within their games to find the bad actors. And that does take a level of step up. But I mean, like, you're the one that built a game that does that. So in building that game, knowing the success that would inevitably bring, means that you have to also have some sort of monitoring tools in place that are a little bit more powerful than somebody doing self-reporting or AI that's clearly not working.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my last little bit is like the gain trust of the actual customer, of the parents of the family or whoever, maybe like parents playing with the kids, whatever, is to keep updates of what they're trying to do, or like, hey, this is our new enhanced AI, this is what we're doing now, whatever. Because that self-reporting, like you said, you kind of nailed it. No child is going to be really about that, you know. So I guess promises of that they're doing their best they can is, I mean, that's all they really do.
Would you as a parent be willing to sign up for like a newsletter they put out monthly of like, these are currently what's going on in Roblox and how we're trying to help out?
No, yeah, that'd be great. But I'm gonna be honest too, as long as it's not too like saturated, because it's like, all right, just click, try to play the game, right? So
right, but I'm saying directly like to the parents. I would say like it's a newsletter that you sign up for so that you're getting updates about the game that your kids are spending a lot of time on.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, I think actually for the game, the positives and like what they're doing with this current situation, because I would like to definitely know if they're bringing out new purchasing like items or skins or whatever. I need to make sure the bank account's locked because I don't need my child buying those. But also, for the situation as well as the promises that they're actually doing it. And we got to see results too. Maybe results have to be a thing. Maybe it shows like, hey, this week this many accounts were banned for it. Because if you're just telling me what you're doing, but there's just like empty promises, then it's time to move on to something else. We're not going to be playing Roblox anymore.
Such a genius idea, Squeaks, because Activision used to do that all the time with what is it called? Call of Duty. They used to say like 150,000 accounts banned this weekend who were cheating. And as somebody who very, 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 very casually plays Call of Duty, I was like, sweet, way to get him. But then you hear from Daniel. Daniel's like, yeah, that's like 1% or whatever. Like Daniel would always harsh my buzz on that. But for a player like me, that was very encouraging and made me like excited about Call of Duty all of a sudden. So even using that as like a sales tactic, it's very tricky to say like, hey, we caught 5,000 predators on our video game. That doesn't sound like it's gonna sell too well. No. Like, okay, what happened last week? But nevertheless, like touting the successes, I think is a very smart move for advertising your product, frankly.
Yeah, most definitely. That's funny.
Oh man. Yeah. All right, guys, let us know what steps you're doing to help protect your kids on an online world. I mean, it's so much more online than even we had it, and we were like basically inventing the internet as we were going with MySpace and whatnot. So check me out on MySpace, by the way, guys. I have like Pac-Man on there, I think.
I think I still have my songs from like Pretty Ricky or something like that. That's my profile page thing.
All right, we're going to be moving into our reviews, and we're going to keep this really small and light. We have King of the Hill and Alien Earth. Have you watched any of these yet?
Yeah, I've watched Alien Earth. Alien Earth.
Okay, let's start with that one. What is your first impressions for Alien Earth?
So when it first started, I was like, oh, great, this is going to be so much more of like the synthetic people side, human side, like, oh my God, give me the fucking alien. I'm ready to kill some shit, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm really impressed, and I enjoy the story so far. I really like this whole like kids crossing over, kids that are sick crossing over to. These are spoilers, by the way, if you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah,
Kid, crossing over to being like the synthetic bodies. It seems kind of like maybe a believable future. I will say I do like that we're on Earth. I like that very much.
I like
how
that
the aliens
lot.
are
Yes,
here.
actually.
Yes, definitely like that. And the alien, honestly, itself feels. It looks like it's a character, right? Or a person in a suit, right?
That's thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, there's really no CGI with it. This is an 80s kind of not good looking, but I like that alien. You know?
Like the way the movements are really
the
like
running.
Like,
when it's running, I'm like, that's a suit. That's a skinny guy in a suit. They found the skinny guy on set.
But it's so awesome because I love that way more than the CGI stuff. And the suit looks phenomenal. I don't know if they maybe did like a little plaster or something on it with some effects or anything,
there's
definitely
but it looks great. A post effect that's adding a slime to it. I noticed. Like there's a sheen that they're adding in post effect that I think looks good.
Yeah.
What did you think? Okay, now that we're talking about this, what did you think about that little spaceship scene that's in the very, very beginning, which doesn't have much to do on everything else? I was like, the way that there's like film grain on this, I feel like I'm watching right before Ridley comes out. Like this felt so good.
Man, this thing, we were talking about reboot, it's the 80s, right? But I was like, man, they like captured this thing like if it was legit made in the 80s right now. It looks so good. Like I love the computers that look old, but they're definitely like way futuristic than we are.
Right.
Speaking of the opening scene, what do you think the I guess you could say bad android, I don't know, the one that's kind of like causing the issues? Yeah, what do you think like the objective there is? He's so to himself about this stuff and is like not willing to help. He's on his own mission. So I'm curious if he's programmed by someone else.
Oh, that one, that one's a cyber. I think that's the one that's like a little bit of both or something like that. Yeah. So I think what it is they're setting up the idea that first off, okay, I'll throw this out first. I think this is so much more cyberpunk than Alien all of a sudden. Because it's like, oh, I'm interested in this, and I don't think I ever was before, but how synthetics are different than cybernetic upgraded people versus this new hybrid thing that just started happening. And so that has become a new aspect of this world I didn't really care about beforehand. And I'm interested to see, like, what is this one's goal? He's working for this one corporation, but clearly this other corporation trying to get involved, which are basically standing for governments. And so I didn't think in an alien show where I was thinking, like, just hunt down the alien, but I cared about synthetics or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's always just been an afterthought for me. But, like, now I'm really interested in this whole hybrid thing that we got going on with the girl and the other ones that were, like, the cancer patients that got moved over. And Timothy Oliphant's character, who seems to me like to be a synth, who's now trying to teach them, but like, how's he playing this? Because as a synth, does he see them as an abomination? No, he seems to be working with them. There's all kinds of questions like that.
Yeah, if it could really capture me, that's not basically about the aliens, then I'm really locked into it, and that's what the same thing was with Daredevil, that newest season, Born Again, right? Because there was a lot of less Daredevil-ish, but I really was enjoying just like Matt Murdock himself. So.
Right.
So I'm really captured by what's not alien, I guess, about this show. But speaking of like 80s, and we talked about it earlier, is like it's gathering some of the best qualities of an 80s horror movie, right? With an actual alien instead of CGI. But besides the alien, we got the Goonies type feels, right? These kids are now being given a second life, and now they're supposed to be teaming up together, right? So I do like how Wendy, if I remember right, is that her name? Wendy? The main girl, the main synthetic.
Yeah, I don't remember the name. Wendy. I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah,
that she kind of has human feelings still, almost, because she's looking for her brother, and that's she's letting that get in the way of the objective. So I really enjoy that. That they're not just fully 100% robot.
Well, that leans back on. Remember last week when we were talking about space operas, how you could do that ensemble cast or the hero character, and I think this show is very much leaning in on her being the hero character. Like, like she feels like Wrigley from the old Alien franchise, where we're watching this one character be a badass, and everybody around her are players, but we're gonna see her do badass things. Yeah. And the way that she, like, right away, the thing to me was like, oh hell yeah! Like, we saw her jump off the cliff, that's cool, blah 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 blah. But when she was like, I'm gonna go save my brother, and they're in the future. You have weapons and tools. She goes and rips the cutter off the paper cutter and puts it on her back. That up. Yeah. And I was like, that is dope. Yeah. I love how you would assume that she put that on her back. She walked into the other room. They're like, oh, we have guns for you. No, later on when she's climbing around the building, she still has the paper cutter on her back. Like, yeah. I'm on board, baby.
Yeah, I'm so, because I was about to say that as well, but I'm really so, like, ready for her to have the moments where she's just fucking hacking, slashing, right? Yes. I want to see her be that next level, like, use her powers, essentially, now that she has, so. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pacing for this, though, I will say, and it's something that's been kind of across the board, is quite slow. Now, I would say that in contrast to what we've seen out of, like, maybe an 80s production, which would be much faster, this is taking its time to build the atmosphere around everything. And when I'm watching this, and I'm like, man, this pacing, a couple of these cast members, and even this dialogue is reminding me of one of my absolute favorite franchises that I rewatch often, and that's Fargo. Have you ever watched the Fargo franchise?
No, I don't think I have, actually.
The series. Oh, fantastic.
I don't think I have.
It's an anthology. Every season's a new story, and they are impeccable.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
And it dawned on me at the credits, after I didn't really look into this, but the credits of the first episode right away, it said created by Noah Hawley. And I'm like, oh, creator of Fargo. Okay. So this is Fargo in space. and so you really feel the bones of this being this. And Fargo, what's great about that franchise is it's a novelist making the show. So everything feels like it's now novel. Like you're actually unfolding things as a novel. You could feel the chapters in it. And already with this, I'm feeling that. Like there are bits and pieces that feel like chapters already in just the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a level of craftsmanship that I don't think we're familiar with yet in the Alien Predator universe. So adding that to it, it's like adding Andor to Star Wars. It's like, hey, we're going to put something that is so well made, but it just happens to be wrapped around a comfortable coat that you guys already know, like Star Wars. Same thing with this.
Yeah, and they're doing these bits really perfectly because at the beginning it was like Crashland, right? Second one is like investigating. And then towards the end of the second part of that, but towards the end of the second episode is when we actually had Alien on screen ripping bodies apart. So my fear is I'm hoping it really doesn't, because you're talking about the pacing, doesn't slow down drastically after that.
Right.
Because those were, I mean, yeah, like you said, the alien kill people and stuff, but those were really well done. And that party scene that the guy was trying to tell me to get out. Oh my God, we're talking like he was only in the room for 2 seconds and there's just bodies everywhere.
Yes, yes.
But so yeah, I know there's going to be slowed down. Obviously, you're building this world or whatever. But I mean, I'm with you. I'm going to see potentially Wendy, the name, if I'm remembering right. Like just have some moments where she's just hacking and slashing things. So I'm curious if this one, because we got eggs now, right? And they want to like extract the eggs. How many aliens are going to be there? Are we going to get some type of queen? To where when it can have these moments of where like she can just kill some aliens, like Rambo, and then it still be a threat, you know?
So first off, you were right. It is Wendy. Oh, and it just dawned on me that's the Lost Boys thing.
Yeah, that's what I say. So they looked up to Peter Pan when they were like in the.
I knew that, and I knew that the CEO that's a weirdo, Boy Cavalier, which cool name alone, but he actually calls them the Lost Boys. And so, in his place is called Neverland. I get that he's like really into Peter Pan, but I never thought about her name being Wendy. Like, oh shit, that's so cool. Okay, slight mind blown out of nowhere. So we've seen in some of the stills or promotional art, the alien is actually like in a forest. So it is definitely going to be leaving this building. So again, that's just a chapter thing, right? Where we're going to get a chapter point where we see all of a sudden that the main alien or maybe one of the eggs opens up in a new place. Because the other thing too is the synths are capturing that one egg pod that we saw upside down. So that's another element that's added to this thing.
Oh yeah, And
then there's in this world too, there's these little bugs that seem to be devouring blood. That's another thing that's almost as if you're talking about a video game. Like, oh, that'll be a mini boss we'll come across at some point. It's dealing with those bugs.
So I see. Okay, you think of it. Okay, like that to where there's just multiple enemies and it's not just like one type of enemy.
I think the main concern is that the alien mom essentially, right?
Yeah.
But as we're going along, we'll have to check off these chapters or these mini bosses along the way to eventually it coming down to Wendy versus the main alien to protect her brother. who her brother might be something a little special too, because he feels like he's not quite normal. Maybe something's up with him too. I think, yeah.
Okay, that'd be interesting. I like that idea because I kind of forgot about the little bugs that were sucking the blood or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's new. And I was like, oh, I don't know if that's a new beginning stages of the alien, but I'd never seen that before. So I didn't even think of it as like something that's just to the side of that. That's really
I don't think it has anything to do with the xenomorphs.
Yeah,
so glad I remember that name out of nowhere. Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the xenomorphs because that ship was out there for like 60 something years or whatever, collecting specimens. So they have specimens on that ship that are not related to xenomorphs. I think that upside down egg thing is not a xenomorph at all. Like they specifically show the one that's the face grabber that we know is xenomorph.
Yeah.
So, and then knowing Noah Hawley and how he does Fargo is incredible in the fact that like it's so weird. I'm gonna say something to you, and it's gonna seem so weird to you.
Okay.
The second season, for example, it takes place in like the 70s. It's a cop drama. They're trying to find this murderer. Mobs are involved, and then when they're having the shootout in those motel, an alien ship comes down. It distracts them enough for some guy to get away, and the alien ship goes away. And that's it. So Hawley that's it. Hawley will tell you an entire story that feels like an entire mob thing, but then alien pops up for just a second, and it's like, wait, what? Aliens are here, and then they leave, and that just changes in the first season. Everything's going well. Then suddenly it starts raining fish for a second. That gets somebody in an accident, and that changed the course of the show. And it's like, that has happened in the past, but that's like very much a sci-fi thing. Weird things like that. The one with Chris Rock, which is fantastic season, but like literally death comes to claim a character, and then suddenly that changes the effects of the show. And you're like, wait, that was actually like the Grim Reaper.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to check the show out. Damn.
You definitely need to check out Fargo. Yeah. It's so fantastic. The last season, but so I'm seeing in this one, I have a feeling something weird is going to come up. And I think it might be Predator. Might pop up somewhere and take it. Because I don't know if in Alien, this is 2 years before the events of Alien 1.
Yes. Yeah.
Does Earth know about aliens? I don't know if they know about aliens at that point. Could we see Predator pop in and kill off the alien, be like, this is you're not supposed to be on this planet, you know?
Yeah, and this could be the opening stages of what I don't know who's going to help this, but they talked about doing another Alien vs. Predator. So
yes,
it seems like if this was an opportunity that they are really trying to make Alien and Predator in one universe and make it stay that way. It almost feels like. Yeah. But I like what you're pointing out with like the different type of species and like the plant like pod thing on the ceiling.
Yeah,
I wonder if they're just expanding xenomorphs themselves, right? Like how do they it's not just one alien, right? It's just like maybe what's their colony look like? We never really seen like how they live and shit, you know?
Yeah, we've seen how xenomorphs replicate, and I believe now I'm not as much, I think you're more into the alien universe than I am. Just there's too much shit to pay attention to, guys. But if I remember correctly, the Predators use aliens as like a test. So I had thought that maybe the aliens were created by the Predators as like a tool. Or is that something? Is that not accurate?
No, I'm not familiar with that. But I know they on one of the. I think the first Alien vs. Predator. Yeah, that was a thing, right? They're looking for a new enemy, and that was one of them. And then they obviously like would use like their skulls and stuff for cosmetics or shields and shit. Yeah. I think one of them had like one of their skulls as like a shield on their forearm, something like that. In one of the movies, those movies are pretty old now. So yeah.
I remember that was cool as shit though when they did the first like Alien vs. Predator, the A and V, AVP or whatever. Yeah, that was like, oh my, it's happening, guys.
And then we're in this phase of everything just fighting each other. So we got Freddy vs. Jason.
Another one where it made no sense, but I was like, yes, finally. Where's Mike?
Twice in the theater.
Oh my god! And as a Halloween guy, I'm just like, Mike, where's Mike Myers, man? Bring him in here somewhere, you know?
That'd be wild. That would be wild.
My first impressions of this thing, slow but very well crafted. Yeah. I'm giving this a pretty high score. I want to say like a 9 out of 10. God, I hate to give it.
I'm honestly
2 episodes.
I'm with you with a 9 out of 10 because I was starting to get hooked where I started actually caring about again outside of the alien side.
Yes.
So do you know if this is just an episode per week now that we got first?
Yes, it is, and it's gonna be going for 8 episodes.
Okay, so if it does slow down drastically after that amazing second episode, then it will definitely falter my score for sure.
Yeah. I hope this is going to keep this pace. And if that's the case, I hope it's something new. Again, with Noah Hawley doing anthologies, we would get a new alien encounter every year that's different than this one. And with new characters and stuff like that. I love that idea. And so I'm hoping this is successful. And that we continue with what we have going on. So I'm going 9 out of 10. What'd you give it?
9 out of 10. I'm with you.
9. Yeah. All right. 9 out of 10 face suckers. There we go, guys. Look at that. We always got to go themed. Sophie Turner delivers a thrilling performance of survival and trust. See it only in theaters August 22nd. After a scandal, a Hollywood starlet retreats to a remote cabin. But she's not alone. Betrayed by the man she trusted most, she's trapped in a brutal game of survival. She can hide, but she can't run. Get tickets now, rated R, from Republic Pictures, a Paramount Pictures label. Our lives are the sum of our choices. Bring home Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning on digital now. Tom Cruise stars as Ethan Hunt in this action-packed thrill ride that film critics are calling the biggest and wildest mission yet. Go inside the incredible stunts with over 50 minutes of jaw-dropping extras when you buy on digital. Available at participating retailers, rated PG-13 from Paramount Pictures. And then just a quick touch on King of the Hill. You haven't watched King of the Hill yet, right?
No, I have not yet, no.
I gotta say, guys, the way that they're masterfully creating a new version of King of the Hill that feels like it's not new is incredible. When I'm watching these episodes, I don't feel like I'm watching a reboot. I feel like I'm just watching the next season of King of the Hill.
It really does feel that from what I've seen of it. It really does feels a straight continuation. Pretty awesome. Yeah,
and it just happens to be a jump forward. There are so many times where I see Bobby starting to form his own character in a new way that I didn't think I needed. I thought I would be fine with just being the kid Bobby, but he's taller now, basically, right? But no, this Bobby is very much a product of both Hank and Peggy as an adult. And that is some really tight writing. Yeah. And you start to see there are things he's done, and it's so funny because he always seemed like the antithesis of Hank when he's a kid, right? That boy, right? Boy would, by the way, when Hank says that again in the future, you're like, oh, that's good. And then like Peggy, like, he's not a boy anymore. He's like, well, that man ain't right. So I was like, that's so great. But there are moments now when I'm seeing like that I probably did recognize when I watched this as a younger man, King of the Hill. But I'm recognizing now where I'm like, that's from his dad. That's from his mom. He's these two people put together. That's really well done. And then just the world building too, with like Joseph still believing that his dad's Dale Gribble, while his mom is still cheating with Redcorn. It's so great.
Still cheating.
And one of my favorite bits, it's pretty early on when they're talking about like race and stuff like that, and Redcorn's like, I know it's hard as a white kid, I've always had to deal with this. And the chef that's with Bobby is like, and then Bobby's like, don't worry about it. Like, and so it's like Bobby knows the whole time that Dale Gribble's not his dad, but Joseph doesn't know, and he's like, he thinks he's a white kid because Dale Gribble.
Oh man, I might have to start this today.
It's a true delight. It's really fun. It does feel like you're just continuing the story. And Hank, I thought maybe he'd be a curmudgeon or something like that, because it's like, oh, what do you do when you take Hank Hill from those days and you add 10 years on him? He's going to be more of a curmudgeon? No, he's still the same curmudgeon, but he still sees that kind of like baser level of America that is so, because like in the first episode, he's debating about going back to Saudi Arabia because they have another project for him to like make a propane tanker, and he's debating about like, I should just go back. It was really tailor made for me. They made like a little piece of Americana for him, and instead he sees some Girl Scouts selling cookies outside of the Megalomart, and he's like, this is still America, and he starts striking up a conversation with some guy about the Samoas, and it's and it was just like, this feels perfect. It's just right down the middle. It's about like the common grounds that we all share in a world where we kind of have big partisan ideas. Sometimes it's all about just like supporting the Girl Scouts outside, or respecting the true stories of history or whatever. Like this does a masterful job, and it did something I didn't know was doable, and bringing back King of the Hill in today, and it just really does a good job. So I'm giving, and I hate to give such high scores, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
10 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this a full season that was released, or is this a weekly thing?
It's all out right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
check
real quick though, for some background story, and you don't get too far. He feels like he wants to go back to Saudi Arabia because he just doesn't feel like the like America being the same. Is that what it is, or what's the? So
Saudi Arabia hired him to come like install propane. Something.
And this was the end of what we thought last season was, or what was it?
That's the idea, like that, like a bit of a time jump when you're coming back. Like he's been there for at least like 5 years, because he missed the pandemic and everything like that was while he was in Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
and so as you're very familiar with like military wise, when America has a presence in another country for a while, we build like a little America there. Like there's literally a walled off neighborhood. And that happens to be extremely Americana. Like it is a slice of, and he has like actual maids there too and stuff. It's funny. We only see it for just a slice for a little bit. And so him and Peggy are debating about like, should we just go back? Cause now they're here and they see like they're, you know, everybody's on their iPhones. Bill is now shut in. You take Dale Gribble, who was a conspiracy nut beforehand, and now he has like a social media following because it's kind of like the thing now to be a, you know.
That's funny.
He was even mayor for a little bit during the pandemic because he was questioning everything about the pandemic, and so like it's like yes, that's perfectly Dale Gribble, like he's thriving right now, and so they're like, can we just go back to Saudi Arabia? And Saudi actually offers him a role in like a new propane job, and so he's debating about going back, but then he sees like no. It's still worth being here. This is actually still America.
Yeah.
It's just that we get bogged down by outside influences and stuff. So it's very masterfully done. And of course, there's one episode where Boomhauer, his new girlfriend has a kid. So this kid's now like one of the new kids in town, and he's trying to make him like feel more part of it. So he starts giving him non-alcoholic beer. And so the kid's like starting to get like addicted to non-alcoholic beer and starts sharing with everybody else, and they're out there like doing their thing themselves. Okay. And then he's like, "That's probably not good." he's like, and I love how he like mumbles things like, "Break the cycle."
Yeah.
Takes the beer away from him, and then the kid's like, "Well, I just want to be cool like you." And he's like, "Oh, okay." So then he, they find other things related.
Okay, I'll have to start this. Well, I was going to ask you if he's in the propane business still, but I'll definitely have to start.
Well, they're all retired. He's retired, but he's
okay.
Oh, so it's fun. So he's like retired. One episode is really great. He's retired, but he's like, of course, losing his mind. He's not the kind of guy to want to be retired. Like both our parents would be both our dads in that same situation.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know what the hell to do with themselves. So then Boomhauer, his whole gig is like doing like those like TaskRabbit app things where you like go install a shelf for somebody or whatever.
Oh,
or
okay.
So then Hank Hill finds out about that, and he's like, hell yes. And that's like exactly what he wants to do, is like doing housework for other people and stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah, he finds a way. Yeah.
That's funny.
It's really fun, guys. Check it out, guys. 10 out of 10. Just write down exactly what you wanted out of King of the Hill. It's perfect.
That's awesome.
All right, we're going to be moving on to our interview with Alex Austin, who's developing. So Alex Austin is building up Bitcade, who it's a podcasting app. He's now building a social media arm into this. So we're going to be discussing what is that like? How do you deal with moderation and growth in a very competitive market? Here is Alex Austin. Today I'm joined by Alex Austin, and we're going to be talking about Bitcade and a brand new feature coming to the platform. How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing great, and I'm so glad to be here with you now. It's been a while since I got to podcast, so any chance I get to get back in front of a mic or back on some buds and hopefully with better audio. So that's all I want. I love it and I miss it. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely passion.
Well, Alex, you're obviously a passionate guy about podcasting because you created a podcast app. So for people who don't remember, it's been a while since we've talked and people shop around a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about Bitcade as a podcast app?
Yeah, so Bitcade, first and foremost, is a podcast app available for iOS and Android. So you can listen to podcasts on there. We pull from the Apple Podcast Search API. So any podcast that's available on Apple is also available on Bitcade. So that includes the Geek Freaks podcast as well. So the whole network of podcasts is all on there. And I would say the next feature that's most important is it's a monetization platform for podcasters, which Frank, you've been awesome with ever since day one, posting content on there. And I faithfully unlocked everything I could on there as well to help monetize you. But the cool thing is you can post content on there similar to like a Bandcamp or something like that, where you post individual pieces of audio or video content to your bonus gallery. And the bonus galleries for podcasters lives right alongside your regular RSS content. So it's so easy for users to find. And then they monetize you simply by purchasing a token bundle from the platform itself and then using the tokens similar to like an arcade, that's what we call it, Bitcade, to slot in and unlock that bonus content for themselves. And the cool thing about that platform is you can also do 3 or 6 month subscriptions on your bonus gallery as well. So if you just want someone to be able to unlock all of your content in perpetuity for some period of time, you can do that. And then most recently, we've added in social features. So the social features include like a feed, like a wall. So similar to like a Twitter feed or something like that. And then you can comment on things, post media, whatever you want to do in there, and then comment on episode feeds as well. So it's become this very robust thing, this huge thing. And yeah, I was excited to get on here and tell you a little bit about some of these updates.
Yeah. Why did you want to include a social feature into your podcast app?
So I see other platforms out there that were doing podcasting as well, and the social features became like the part of those apps that they'd want to leverage the most. The big problem is, and this is where I see it like with Twitter and places like, X, places like that, is so often the social media aspect becomes just about having like the most followers possible. Everything is kind of built around how popular can I possibly be outside my network of friends and followers, right? So that's always been the thing. But with Bitcade, we've kind of taken a different approach, and it's maybe the first of its kind that's out there. So within Bitcade, so you can go to the social page, the feed, we call it, and you can filter out at the top of the screen whose posts you want to see very easily, right?
Oh, nice.
The trick is though, if you followed too many people, it's going to be hard to filter all of those. So, and then if you haven't been followed back by say you follow a podcast page like Geek Freaks or something like that, if Geek Freaks doesn't follow back, then they can't filter your posts. So the idea being we can keep networks smaller. And if I'm only realistically following and listening to 40 or 50 podcasts ever in total, then realistically, I shouldn't have that many things to filter out on it. The whole goal of this, though, is to keep the network small and married to those particular podcasts versus just growing exponentially for kind of no reason. And the way it's gone on platforms like X is typically if you've gotten that huge surge in followers, in many cases, it's not organic and it's bots and things like that are really hard to manage. So within Bitcade, the entire ecosystem is built up to reward follow back versus followers. And that's something we're going to stick to as a design philosophy moving forward. And it's something that I think is a unique value differentiator for the app as well.
Yeah, that brings up a great point with Twitter, now X, is the fact that it does feel kind of like an empty cluster of bots. And for the same post I'll put over on there versus other locations where they're maybe newer or fresher, I mean, the engagement rate, which anybody who behind, like anybody doing the marketing side of things, it's all about engagement rate. It's not about followers at all.
Oh, totally.
So X is useless to us now, and it's good to hear that there's a place where they're focusing on that.
That's why TikTok has been so great, because TikTok, you get much more active views on TikTok. So, and I think the algorithm just seems better. Like it does feed better quality content to me based on what I'm liking, based on what I'm sharing and following. It seems to have a pretty good handle on the content that I actually want to view, as opposed to X. Because I open up X and it virtually always, the first thing it always feeds me is some like, fiery political posts, right? Because they want you to engage immediately in maybe a not friendly way. But I only want people to engage in friendly ways. And people are certainly welcome to argue back and forth on Bitcade, just like any social media platform, as much as they want. You can spend energy there if you want to. But realistically, it should be about the content and it should be about the podcaster. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I want to keep this.
Yeah, and frankly, that's the kind of social media that podcasters have been asking for a long time. As a former podcaster for yourself, what are some of the things that you'd be using Bitcade for on this social media feed?
Yeah, so what I'd be doing first and foremost is, as an indie podcaster, here's something that Bitcade does that's really strange. Nobody else does it. So on the home screen of Bitcade, you'll find you have the trending bar. It's Apple. It's Apple fed, right? So we find the Apple trending. It's on the trending bar. It's easy to find the new popular podcasts, or I don't know, like Joe Rogan's always at the top or something like that. So, but right below that is another bar. And it's actually meant for indie podcasters like us to be able to purchase ad slots on there for cheap. So I think I have the main ad slot up for 100 tokens right now. 100 tokens to be the equivalent of $5 US. The cool thing about that slot is if you get that slot, and it only lasts for 7 days for any podcast that grabs it, that's visible to everyone who uses the app worldwide for 7 days. And then within the feed, if you scroll the feed and you're looking at posts in the feed, you'll actually see those same podcasts pop up in the feed incrementally as well. So it'll pop up more often. If it's in the first slot, it'll pop up somewhat less often. It's in the second slot, and then so on and so forth for the third through the 10th slots that are on there right now. In the future, if it becomes popular enough, maybe we turn that into a bidding feature for those slots, just to potentially raise more money for the charity purposes that I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. But for now, it's very cheap to advertise to everyone who uses the app. So in the last, call it 30 days prior to the social rollout, I think we had like 380 users filter through the app, right? So that would mean that 380 users would have the opportunity to filter to see your post in their feed every time they open it. Or if there's not a lot of posts in there, they're going to see it right off the hop in there as well. So anyway, it was just a really cool feature we wanted to add early on, along with merch trays. We have merch trays at the podcast pages, with like the podcast page, post affiliate, sponsor, merch links. We don't really care. You can rent those for tokens as well. And then, so that was the whole idea, is just to kind of make a very tight ecosystem to give the indie podcaster a spot to increase their reach.
So what I love about that, first off, for anybody who's listening who happens to be a podcaster, I know I have a few that are listening here. We have actually, we've bought our spot on the trending bar, right below the trending bar, and we've seen an actual hit on the numbers. That's always nice when you actually see an effort be rewarded, and not something that's common in this game sometimes. And so I do suggest anybody who is interested in seriously taking podcasting seriously, that is definitely something to do. And I will say, for us, we have a lot of different social media accounts, and it takes a while to learn what the language is for each of the social media platforms, right?
Yep.
And so I will be testing out, and I'm just gonna throw this out now while we're going. This episode's coming out in mid-August, and if you guys want to jump in there and jump in on those early days of the social media feed, we're going to be following back everybody that follows us, and we're going to be doing a giveaway over there. We had another deal with Paramount, so we're gonna give away 5 copies of the new movie 28 Years Later, the digital codes on Bitcade. So come over there and join us over there. So yeah, there you go. There's something we'll be posting over there. I'm trying to think of what else to be posting over there. That'll be something, one of the things.
Tell you what, I'll throw in a sponsored item for that as well. So if you find an item for let's call it less than $50 or less US, I'll sponsor that item myself. I'll transfer it to you.
Okay, well, hey guys, go over to Bitcade, get in on the action. There we go. Yeah, there we go.
I love it.
Paramount gives us these digital codes to give away as part of the deal of us, sharing. And so it's like, how can we use these for fun? We always try to let's not.
That's amazing.
Let's just have fun with them. So there we go. That's another one. 28 years later. It's a good movie,
right? Killer movie too to get. I love that.
Yeah, that's a good awesome one. Okay, so the evolution of Bitcade overall. I mean, back in the day, guys, I don't know if you know, but it used to be called Cephalopod. I was in there early days.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Where do you want to see it evolve now from here? Now that you have the social feed going.
So all we're trying to do now, and it's primarily just me on the app at this point. So I just want to see the app scale with podcasters coming in and potentially driving in some organic traffic from their listeners into the app. Yeah. And that could be to unlock their bonus content if you want to monetize on there. Monetization on there is very easy. I want to start paying out some podcasters. Certainly, I would love the opportunity to be able to do that as well. And it's just a great place to monetize your hobby, but also just bring in listeners who are then going to listen to other podcasts on there as well, and just drive general traffic. The idea being, if we could bring in enough podcasters, then the thing really starts taking off from there. I can start adding in more features, like live stream is the next feature that I'm kind of looking at, which is actually, from a development standpoint, pretty easy. So, but from like a funding standpoint, for the actual bandwidth it takes to run it, could be quite expensive. So that'd be more of a premium feature, right? So I want to get to the point where I can include some of these premium features that come from just the app making more money as it scales. And this is just a natural progression of features. The other thing that'll have to happen in the future too, is we're going to have to, build our own API for the RSS to offload onto when the Apple API gets filled up with requests, right? So there's these other things that have to happen as the app scales that I've already planned for, but we just got to kind of get to the point where it scales. But the big thing is this, and this is going to sound really strange to people because, when I first envisioned Bitcade and I understood, the economy that we were building in there with tokens and everything could be very lucrative. And I kind of mentioned this to you is since the time when I started about 4.5 years ago, the world has really changed in that period of time. And I actually want to do something really strange with it. I actually want to, once I've made my principal back, which is far less than what people might think in terms of the development costs for the app, I actually want to divest my equity from the app entirely. And I want to basically allocate as much income from the app as possible, outside development, upkeep costs, to charitable causes. I don't think there's anything else out there in the world from an app standpoint, from a charity standpoint, that just will scale and generate more and more money as it scales, that can then be allocated to charitable causes. But in essence, it might end up becoming like a nonprofit or I don't remember what the designation is, the states for.
I think it's nonprofits essentially, or just charity.
But I really want it to be like a nonprofit organization that is able to generate the stuff. And the only thing I should spend on at that point is I would take an hourly wage, 2 or 3 hours a week, whatever I spend to actually upkeep it, and then and the development costs, and that's it. And I think it could be a really cool thing to say for this month, say for the month of August, we're going to focus on raising money for this charity in the US. And for September, we're going to focus on raising money for this charity in Canada. So then all of those proceeds, call it 77% of net revenue at that point, is then going into those charitable causes that we can fund. It'd be cool to see where we could take that as the app scales, because maybe we start with just a few $100 on a month, but as it scales, it's going to turn into thousands, then tens of thousands. So it'd be incredible to see what the podcasting community could do with this, simply by accessing their bonus content and funding their favorite podcasters on BitCade. So the podcasters still get paid. So that money's all set aside once the token bundles are purchased. So, and then as the tokens are allocated, that money goes to the podcasters. But in terms of net profit, so that's what we could really allocate toward the charity stuff. And I just think there's such a cool thing that we could do there. And the wonderful thing about BitCade is at this point, it's completely and utterly self-sustaining from like from a funding perspective. All it has to do is just grow. That's it. So it's all set up to just run. So yeah, that's the big plan right now.
Would that be something, I'm throwing this out there, it might be something not worth doing, but having the user base vote on what charity's next? Like maybe you give a option of 4.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that, because my mind was going to the same place. And it would also be awesome to do this by region as well, because maybe there's something in, maybe there's a charity in, say we have a lot of listeners from India. A lot of people from India access the app, right? Yeah. So if there's a lot of people from India who access it, maybe there's a charity that's India based, that's important to them, that they can vote on to allocate from their region. Whereas in North America, we would choose our own, whether it's like Children's Miracle Network, or in Canada, I donate to Sick Kids. That's like the one I've always done in Canada, the Sick Kids Hospital. In the US, it could be something similar, but that's the idea, is as it scales, and I find that, there's actually more users from US, UK, Canada, Australia, and India than anywhere else in the world, then we give precedence to them to be able to vote on where that money's allocated. Absolutely. And I'd be more than happy to do that.
That sounds cool. Yeah. Clearly, this is going to be a positive community. How do you foster that? And, when you come into something like moderation, how does that work into a social media app?
Yeah, so moderation, I think it's just keeping the network smaller, more localized. I think that's going to be one part of it. I think in the near future, though, so I've always envisioned, I really wanted to have like network pages set up within the app as well, where podcasters could be added to specific networks. Doing that feature would require that we have admin level accounts in there as well. So for instance, a verified podcaster comes in, we know you're verified because we're able to claim the RSS feed. So for you, we would actually give you as a podcaster admin access to, say, your own page. That would be something I want to do as well, to kind of give them more agency over the community that they run within the app. And when it comes to something like that, I wouldn't necessarily have access to that. That might be something I wouldn't necessarily be able to see unless I myself was added to those networks too. So it can help keep things very private in there. So there is a freedom of speech element there, but there's also the content moderation standpoint. On the feed itself, I currently have full control over moderating that Elon Musk style. So for the feed that's currently public, I check it daily as much as possible, just to make sure no funny business is going on in there. But as we acquire more content, certainly there's going to be some funny business at some point. So I'm ready to moderate that as I go along. If you were to see something, you would just shoot me a quick message on there, just to let me know within the app, hey, there's this content, you can hit it up or whatever. I get the notification in my chat, and I'll just go and delete it. But I do check it daily just to make sure there's no funny business in there. But if I see anything not good going in, then yes, it will be moderated. So yeah, we got to keep the community, I think, from a free speech perspective. If it's not something that falls under protected free speech in the US or Canada or UK, then it's not something that's going to stay on the app. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. It has to be a welcoming place and not harassing or anything like that. So that's perfect.
And inclusive. Yeah. It needs to stay inclusive, and things can get very non-inclusive very quickly in social media.
I know.
So I'd like to avoid that as much as possible.
You sometimes want to hide your corner of the internet. You don't want anybody to know about it, because you're like, no, it's good right here, right now. I don't need bros coming in and ruining this.
right. But it doesn't matter. Somebody always makes their way in. So the bots do. That's even worse.
That's So every so often I'll post something that kind of like catches a little bit of fire in the wrong direction. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh boy, I got to fight my algorithm back to the good side. It's just
That's what it is. That's what it is, man. Yeah. And then it got to the point with even my personal account on like X, because I done the follower game for a while, and I just gave up on it. I'm like, honestly, I don't see any kind of lift here. I don't see any benefit to this. I'd rather just follow people back and show them like a mutual follow and just be kind. So it just makes more sense.
It does. Okay, so you have monetization, you have moderation. What are some of the other features we look at? So social media, we have video. How much of video podcasting are you looking at for Bitcade? Because I know that's got to be a huge bandwidth demand. You were talking live stream earlier.
Yeah, weirdly, I mean, it hasn't been so far, and we've gotten up to, I want to say 30 or 35 gigs uploaded within a month. So it hasn't been a huge bandwidth issue so far. So that would also fall under the operational cost though. So like if I think the biggest month for bandwidth I've ever had to pay for was like $1.19. So,
oh wow, okay, score.
So it's honestly it's pennies on the dollar, but that's the idea with like hosting on places like right now it's on Firebase, or if you're doing like Amazon services or whatever, is it should scale with the usage, right? If at any point it didn't, then we would just limit bandwidth or we'd limit bit rate. So for video playback or whatever, but so far so good. Hasn't been too much of an issue. If it ever got to the point where it was an issue, we just have to change something within the business model to kind of tweak it to ensure that it can stay free for users and still have the premium feature there. But it may be at that rate, it scales to the point where it makes sense to offer like a premium bit rate for premium cost, right? So hosting was something I always wanted to do, like RSS hosting with Bitcade, but that'd be the absolute most expensive thing you could do in podcasting. And there's so many services that have come and gone over the years in terms of boom and bust, simply because of this element, right? But the good news is the bandwidth does become cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper over time. So it is going to get to the point where sustaining it is not really going to be an issue. That's why the streaming was going to have to fall under premium feature though, because it's with the streaming, that's a lot of bandwidth you take up from a streaming perspective. So that would be a premium. Rolled it out.
Yeah, because there's a new article that came out this week. I'll have to find the exact source on it, but it's been being shared around, and YouTube just overtook Apple and Spotify, which to think something ever took over Apple is pretty wild, right? In the grand scheme of things, right? YouTube's up there. So now there's a lot of us podcasters. I've been getting a lot of questions from people that I help and represent and stuff like that. Should we be doing full video? And it's like, it should be an element. I don't know if it should be full video. On your side, are you hearing more demand for video podcasting?
Totally. Yeah. Huge demand for video podcasting. In fact, if you look at, Bitcade was actually the first podcast player that actually had integrated audio and video into it. Spotify did theirs after we did ours, which is kind of funny. But I want to say last time I had heard the figures for it, it sounded like there was like 15 or 20% of users for Spotify who would watch the Joe Rogan podcast on there versus just listen to it, because they can tell if you're watching the video portion or if you're doing the audio. So there is a huge uptake on it. In terms of social media and stuff, I think a lot of it's just going to continue to live in social media in terms of clips and pieces of it. I know for myself as a podcast listener, I still prefer just listening because I'm typically doing other things is I'm listening to podcasts. And I know, as I was telling you about my card site earlier, so I'm processing cards. I'll typically listen to podcasts doing that as well. So I think video podcasting is going to continue to scale, but I think it's always going to make up a similar portion of the percentage of podcasting overall. But that being said, as it grows, if it becomes the primary thing, then we find a way to accommodate the big case.
Yeah.
100%.
It's just always interesting to hear from, like, say, your side of the business, what you're anticipating when, from our side, we're trying to catch the trends as they're happening. So I'm sure for your side, you're having to be a little bit ahead of those trends to make sure that you're able to provide everything on Bitcade.
Yeah. And I would say some things that are interesting, though, just coming from, because I work in telecom in Canada, like over the years, especially over the last 3 to 4 years, I haven't personally seen like such a huge lift, say, in that the customers are using from like a data standpoint, as opposed to like a Wi-Fi standpoint. So I don't know that people are really, their behaviors have really changed that much over the years. And I would suspect it's the same with podcast listeners too. You started listening to audio podcasts, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago or longer. Chances are you probably still listen to audio podcasts primarily, as opposed to coming into, the TikTok age when all I do is watch video. Then chances are you're just going to be on a video podcast. So that could change as we go into the future here. But so far I think audio podcast is still kind of king.
Yeah. And I prefer it that way. I know for the YouTube numbers, plus YouTube has introduced their own audio version of podcasting too, so it might be skewing these numbers, but it was 38% of all podcast listening. So they are number one amongst, a group, but it's being divided out over a lot of other audio platforms only. So it's definitely still audio is king.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been podcasting for a while, you've been doing Bitcade for a while, but you've been getting some side hustles. Can you tell us about this magic card that you've been doing?
I was going to tell you. Yeah, so it's called Spellbound CG. Listen, I got back into magic after I got out of podcasting, so I had to do something. I had to do something to earn my geek badge. And anyway, so I got really back into magic when the set came out for Lord of the Rings. I got really into that.
Beautiful
built a
set.
binder for it and everything. And then I got so into magic that me and a couple buddies decided, well, we just want to crack more packs. So we started a site and got on Shopify binder, all that stuff to run our own site. And the whole thing is just a self-fulfilling prophecy to crack more packs. Every penny we make just goes into new products. So we can get more booster boxes and crack more packs and then sell that stuff. And it's been fun, man. Like, for the people who are listening who might know, like we did our Final Fantasy Collector booster box when it came out. And it was like 900 Canadian when we got it. Like it was not cheap. But one of the first cards we pulled that was really good was like the Ishtola, the Surge Foil Ishtola. So it was so we sold it same day. I don't know. Somebody else in Canada bought it for like $725 from us. And then next week it was up at $100, which is the nature of magic.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, you never know. Same thing with Pokemon. You always see those numbers fluctuate so much. You're worried to do anything. Yeah.
I love doing the shop though. It's fun. And I got some Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh on there, but unfortunately for listeners who know about Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't. So I just post whatever I can manage to get a hold of. And some of it sells, some of it doesn't. It's just fun. So that's been the other side hustle that I started just as kind of a passion project. And hey, if it ever got to the point where we had, 20 or 30K in the bank, maybe that's the point where we open up a small shop somewhere. But I was telling you earlier, I have the perfect spot in the States. So, and it's actually from my home state of Florida. So that's where I come from, right? Yeah. And and for anybody listening who's been to Kissimmee, which is in Orlando, that's where the parks are, right? For Disney World, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. On the main drag there going through Kissimmee, there's actually a shop, and it's like one of the off like Disney like junk shops that sells all the stuff.
Oh yeah, where you get the cheaper souvenirs.
Yeah. But it's got a giant, and I mean giant. It must be made of like, I don't know what material it's made out of. It might be made of cement. I don't know. It's this giant wizard that is like his arms are engulfing the building and his head is coming out the top of it. He's got the big wizard hat and everything. Anybody who's been down there is going to know exactly what I'm talking about. That spot would be killer to open a magic shop. It would just be so perfect. So that's my dream.
What was it beforehand? Like that seems like it was made to be a TCG shop.
No idea. It doesn't make any sense to me why this place is there and why it has a giant wizard on top of it. But it's it's only ever been a souvenir shop ever since I've been going back to Florida to visit like the parks and stuff, which is just about every year now. Like it's always this wizard guy, and every time I see it, I'm like, I want to open a magic shop right there and run all the card shops. So it'd be sweet.
Could you imagine telling yourself as a kid, like, hey, someday you're gonna make money opening a booster packs? Like that's the dream right there, man.
Dude, so cool. It's great, man. Honestly, I'm glad I did it. And I think since then, I want to say Binder, which is owned by TCG Player. I think they've even gone on a bit of like a onboarding hiatus. Like they're not onboarding net new at this point. So I kind of got in like right at the end. Yeah. And honestly, for anybody looking to do it, like I always recommend selling cards. Like it's fun to collect, but honestly, selling and being able to crack more packs that's the dream. That's the chef's kiss of playing cards of any kind.
Oh man. I'm afraid to tell some of my co-hosts because I have a feeling that that'll become the next thing we're doing. So it's like,
no, the only person I'm worried about is my wife. She's like, where do those cards come from? I'm like, don't worry. They're the shop cards. It's okay. They're not mine. I'm not keeping these. And then I'll sneak a couple cheapies out of there. You know what I mean? So
I literally have some of Squeaks Funko Pops that I'm hiding from his wife for him. So I definitely am aware of the situation. So yeah. Oh God. Yeah. So it's good to see that you're still swinging the geek flag out there, although you're not podcasting anymore.
Yeah, man. And I saw Superman based on your rec. Freaking loved it. I can't wait to see. Good. I'm going to go see Fantastic Four here in a little bit. I can't wait to see that. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. You mentioned the world building earlier. That's what looks so incredible about it. My goodness. So it looks absolutely like prestige Marvel kind of stuff, right?
And everybody who's worried about Shia LaBeouf being, like a woman Silver Surfer, you haven't watched it yet. Oh my God. She made the surfing cool. It's funny to say that, but it's exactly
I don't understand a lot of the objections I hear, even from the Superman stuff. And I don't know. It gets so silly. I think that the overreach for criticism is just gotten to a ridiculous point for these movies. Like they're not quite the blockbusters they were, call it 5 years ago. You know what I mean? In terms of just the scale of how many people are going to see these things or whatever. But the quality is still there. And I hope people can see that because I'm very excited about this most recent spate of films that we've had and what's coming next. even some of the other stuff, like you just posted earlier about who else just joined the Highlander cast.
Oh yeah, Dave Bautista. Yeah, just joined Highlander.
Oh my God! Like, what a killer cast they got lined up for that.
I thought so too. You know how much hate I'm getting on that? Everybody's
really?
Like, yeah, and I think it's because he supported. I don't want to get into politics too much, but he supported one side and not the other during the last election.
Oh, is it
all
that?
my comments are like, "Oh, he's the worst." I'm like, "You guys liked him like 2 years ago."
Folks, I don't know what else to tell you. The politicians are all bought and paid for. It doesn't matter what side you're supporting. So get over it.
Get over it.
Going up.
He's gonna be badass as a villain.
How many citizens are there in the U.S. now? 350 million or something like that?
Yeah, around that. Yeah.
Okay, guys, next election, local election, state election, national election, doesn't matter. Look at the two candidates that are being run against each other, and you tell me these are the absolute best quality two people they can possibly be running.
Yeah.
There is. It never is. Folks, they don't care. You shouldn't care, okay? Live your life and just enjoy it.
I frankly, though, there is a part of me that's just being like, look, I made sure to use a shirtless picture of Dave Bautista, and you guys are fighting over who he voted for. The engagement's looking pretty good on these videos. I'm not hating it.
Dude, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do, man.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Well, Alex, it was great talking to you guys, talking with you again. I want to make sure everybody goes Bitcade. We're going to be ramping up our social presence over there. And again, we're going to be giving away some copies of 28 Years Later. I think I'm going to get 5 copies from Paramount. I got to check that again. But make sure you guys check. And then we're going to follow everybody back. So we're going to follow everybody back that follows us on Bitcade. Come and join us over there, guys. Again, Alex, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and then if anybody has any trouble with the app, anything like that, so you can hit me up very easily. All the contact info is in there when you go in, and you can also find me in the app as well pretty easily. I'm under Alex Austin, so find me in there, and you can message me in the app if there's any issues, and I'd be more than happy to walk you through. So just let me know.
Perfect. All right, guys, we'll see you over there on Bitcade. All right, everybody, that was Alex Austin. Thank you guys for listening to that. Make sure you guys join us over on Bitcade. We're going to be posting over there now as well. Just another place we post things. We're going to give away some free movie codes over there too as the social media app launches. Bitcade's a very supportive app, especially for podcasters, so check them out. Let's go over some of the network news. So over on Challenge Accepted, we're covering Peacemaker every week. Outlast Podcast is going to be doing reviews for the new Survivor Australia that's starting. It started this weekend, actually. So check that out, guys. Distance Nerding is covering Rey and Gina coming back to Star Wars, Stranger Things spinoff ideas, and more. Fandom Portals is going to be going over Walter Mitty. That is the Ben Stiller movie. Anime Plus is doing top 10 selling manga of 2025. Headlines, I'll be doing a catch up for Peacemaker. So if you guys are unfamiliar with what happened in season 1, I'll be going over that. And then I wanted to mention this. So I actually just accepted a position with the I said SDC, it's not that. The Sacramento Developer Collective. I just accepted a board position over there. So you'll start to see me posting. I'm in charge of their PR and outreach. So I'll be running their social media accounts and stuff like that. You're going to be seeing some more we go to the Capital Creative Showcase every year. This is the board that runs that. And what the SDC does is it helps foster video game development and teaching people who are new to video game developing, and to teach kids like who are interested in how to do. So it's basically doing after school programs and stuff like that. So I'm now a board member over there. So you're going to start to see more of Geek Freaks involved with that. And we're going to be going to more events because they do these game jams where they sit there and teach. We'll be taking pictures and sharing those pictures across our board. So if you want to learn more about video game development, obviously as now a board member of SDC, I'll be sharing more of that across our socials and of course their socials. I'll be running all their socials. So you'll be hearing more about video game development through us. Squeaks, what is your recommendation for the week?
All right. So recommendation. I'm kind of playing some old things, but reading a lot about different old things. So this is my recommendation. So we have a movie being released, I think in theaters limited to right now, and it's going to be straight to streaming, and it's probably already like it's written on the walls. It's probably not going to be very great, right? So I'm going to say, what do you do that people are afraid nowadays to make sexy and strong at the same time? You get Red Sonja. Okay, so my recommendation is Red Sonja. There is a movie that's being released to streaming later this month. Again, I think it hit theaters, a limited amount of theaters. As of last week. But I really enjoy the series. It really gives me Witcher vibes. So if you never picked up a Red Sonja, basically she's this beautiful, strong woman, red hair, wears basically a bikini for armor. But like it's so violent at the same time, right? So when you're reading this comic, like heads flying, bodies dying. But when I say Witcher, because it brings us a magic element to it, and also like creatures. And I'm reading a 2023 run, and it brings she opens like a gate where death and like hell kind of comes and demons are flowing in. So I'm really impressed with this series, or at least the 2023 one, more than I thought I would be. I think Red Sonja is an awesome character where she's trying to fight like just all good. She's fighting for good, but she does it in a violent way, essentially.
Yeah, she's a pinup girl too. I read a lot of Red Sonja back in the day too, and we're talking about 80s a lot. She feels like an 80s character, doesn't she? Yeah,
most definitely. But yeah, Red Sonja. Like I don't know how the movie's gonna do, but I mean, don't just base it on like the movie if it doesn't do very well. Read the books. Again, it's very like you could say 80s feel, but with Witchers, it just felt like Witcher. When I was reading that, I was like, this feels like a Witcher series. I wish there was a video game for this, essentially. So
okay, so there's two things I want to suggest. First off, if you guys are excited for Peacemaker, DC has started a podcast hosted by James Gunn and a lot of the cast members from Peacemaker. They're going over season 1, and then they're going to be covering every episode of season 2. So check that out as well, as long as you also check out Challenge Accepted.
What's the DC podcast called?
It's just called
DC podcast.
I think it's just called Peacemaker. No, it's just a Peacemaker.
Oh,
podcast.
It's just the Peacemaker. Okay.
Hosted by James Gunn, and then it has a lot of the cast members. Of course, his wife is on there. She's one of the cast members too. So check that out, y'all. Also, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original badass movie, is back in theaters. Somebody
say it.
Somebody was in the commercial for this. That would be your boy Frank here. Was in the commercial for TMNT.
You're too big for us now.
A little bit of a celebrity, I will say.
You know what's going to happen is I'm going to have to end up hosting this show now because you're just way up there. You're above us now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm in too many commercials nowadays. When they reached out, they asked like, hey, do you mind if we use your video for our commercial? And I'm sure responsible people are like, well, this is what you have to do, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, for a TMNT career? Hell yeah. Go for it. I responded so fast with, yes, you can use my image. Holy shit. For TMNT, man, I remember having the sweaters on and watching this as a kid. Of course you guys could use that.
Question for you. So was this a video that you just briefly talked about? Just any Ninja Turtle update?
Well, it's one of our headlines videos on TikTok, where I was talking about the 30th anniversary coming up and how this is going to come back to theaters. And so they use that as in the commercial. Sweet. It's just a little piece of me. It's for like literally 2 seconds. But I'm officially a celebrity now. So I'm okay.
Okay, and when we go to LA Comic Con, I'm going to turn to you and be like, hey, where's your booth at?
I for real. I'll be doing signings. But yeah, it's in theaters throughout this week, guys. And you guys could check it out and kind of relive the past, man. And what's cool is not only is it going to be the actual TMNT movie, they're doing a little, I think it's like 30 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, documentary beforehand, kind of showing the filming and stuff like that too. So that'll be really, with never before seen footage of so that'll be really cool, guys. Check that out, guys. All right, y'all, that was Geek Freaks. Thank you very much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.